Hey guys, and welcome back. We've been doing this show now for 96 episodes. We're almost to number 100, and I'm excited when we get to 100 because that'll basically mean to me that we've been doing this straight for 2 years, and it's just kind of a fun moment for me. So anyway, as we get into this, guys, today's show is all about the secret to winning and the success that you can find when you really find that happiness and joy in what it is that you do each day and where you spend your time, knowing that this is such a long journey. So let's go get into the show. Hey guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Facebook Friday. Erik here of the Orange Stack. Thanks for joining us every single week as we show you guys how to grow your business, how to do more, and how to accomplish incredible things in your life. So guys, I'm excited for you to be here today, and I'm excited for this topic, but it's a lot of mental clarity, and I want you to kind of understand where you are in your life and the process of what it really means to win, and understanding what success might look like to you, and thinking about how others look at success and where you are in that. I think so many of us spend the time to maybe compare ourselves to others. They might try to look at, other people's successes or where they are in that period of their life right now and try to think like, well, I'm here and they're there, and how do I get to that point? I was watching a Jimmy Fallon clip the other day on Facebook. He was interviewing Post Malone, and he talked about his success recently. And I mean, this is a guy who had a little bit of music talent, but nothing really. Like he barely even played the guitar a year ago. This is a guy who didn't start when he was 4 or 5 or 6 years old. He literally just woke up one day and said, I need to write a song and I need to do something and I need to start producing this content. And he uploaded this one song the first day to SoundCloud, I think it was. And first day goes by and he's like, whatever, I'm just gonna go to bed, see how it shows up in the morning. The next day it had like 30,000 hits, downloads, whatever, or plays. And he's like, well, this is cool. I don't know why, but he kept watching it. It kept going and going and going and going. And eventually he got to the #1 hit list and then top 40 hits, right? And he had a record for 7 straight weeks. He was #1, which before that, the record was Michael Jackson. And I think it was 6 weeks standing. And so here's a guy who, unlike, big guys who've practiced and played their whole entire life, he literally just showed up one day, decided that he was going to do this and broke all the rules and accomplished something that most people think will never happen to them, all because he decided to take action and do something. So it's interesting thinking about entrepreneurship lately. I remember when I grew up and being younger, the thought of going to work for a business, a big company, call it a law firm, an accounting firm, a technology firm, that was a lot of people's mindset was go to a really good school like Stanford or Harvard or USC or one of these incredible schools and go get an amazing job, right? Business was the place to go. And back then, school was not on my mind. And all these people were going after this business major, and I thought, what the heck are you gonna do with a business major? Why is that so exciting to you? What do you plan on doing? My major was construction management, and that's the route that I thought I wanted to go. And so looking back at a lot of my friends in school, some of them were business minded. I had a really good friend who loved to sell stuff growing up, and he was always making money. Even at 10 years old, we were selling lemonade stand stuff. We were making $300-400 a weekend selling lemonade to bikers. It was crazy. So some people were just kind of more business minded, but a lot of my friends were huge into sports and music and playing the guitar and stuff like that, and they wanted to kind of go that route. So we had guys who wanted to become Michael Jordan and other guys who wanted to be like Kurt Cobain and these punk rockers and just different things than most business people. Growing up to start a Shopify account or sell stuff on Amazon or go buy stuff at a garage sale and sell it for more money, or being an entrepreneur was not the top of people's list. It just wasn't. Doing other things, right? Getting paid millions of dollars to swing a wood bat and play, 100 and something games a year. That was what people were after back then, being these sports figures. And it still is today. Being somebody who's top in their game is still a huge thing. But now entrepreneurship is becoming more popular. It's interesting again to think about, the little businesses that existed back in the 90s. I mean, there was small print shops and there was, convenience stores, small businesses, and that, 2, 3, 4 person team didn't exist. I mean, think about Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, and that kind of happened, but these little businesses that exist so much today didn't exist back then. And so I don't think that entrepreneurship goal was on people's mind. And then 2000 rolled around and all these little tech startups started happening and people were building businesses out of their garage. Google came from that and eBay started that way. And just these little teeny companies started popping up all over the place. And soon enough, being self-employed and being an entrepreneur and running your own business became the thing, right? It became popular and it became exciting. And you know, a lot of you guys are real estate agents who watch our show. And for every single one of you, you are self-employed, you are that entrepreneur. And while you might have your license under a big brand like KW or Caldwell or Century 21 or somewhere where there's hundreds of thousands of real estate agents, you're still that lone wolf, that solo team, right? You're by yourself. If you don't sell any houses, you starve. Like no one's gonna write you a check because the big brand did well. And you might have a friend who takes care of you, but it's different, right? And so you've been doing it forever by yourself, but most people are coming into this business now doing their own thing. I went to a business startup class a few months back, maybe it was like middle of last year, and there was a guy who was like 22 years old, and I was like, hey, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I sell lawnmowers on Amazon. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. Like, do you like have a warehouse full of them? He's like, no, it's all drop ship. Meaning, and if you don't, you probably know what I'm talking about, but if you don't know, basically he orders lawnmowers from China and all these other countries, and somebody pays him money, and he, like, let's just say the lawnmower's $300. He charges like $320 or $350, and he keeps that extra money and then ships it. So he never touches the lawnmower, never sees it, and just collects a fee. Like, that's a business. And obviously technology made that possible. Like, you couldn't drop ship like that back in the day. It's just so interesting to think the little businesses that are possible now and where the world is coming because of the technology on this phone. I mean, even on this phone, right? There's a company that made the cover. There's a company that made the little piece of glass that goes on it. There's thousands, if not millions of companies who are creating the apps that are on the phone. Like, just this one phone has produced so many little businesses that exist today that weren't available a decade ago. It's so incredible to see where technology is going and where the world of business ownership is going and entrepreneurship and being able to do something that you love. So kind of stepping back again, your options back in the day were go to a really good school, and hopefully your parents didn't have to bribe the school and pay them a lot of money to get you in. Side joke. But you went to this good school, you got a good degree, you graduated hopefully with honors and everything, and then you went to some company hoping that you could keep your job, right? And I know plenty of people who worked for a company for 5, 10, or 15 years and were laid off and then started from zero and maybe had to switch their career route, they had to go somewhere else, they had to do something else, but they had to start over. And you're always at that risk of being laid off or having something happen to you. And obviously when you're self-employed, every day you could be out of business and you have to keep going and keep finding business. But what it allows you to do is keep generating more income, keep creating more opportunities. You know, as this phone is stopped being produced and they stop making this cover, good news is Apple, Samsung, all these guys are gonna make another phone in another 6 months and you're gonna have another product to sell, right? There's gonna be another app, there's gonna be another thing that you can make. And that's the fun part about selling stuff or creating stuff for technology is there's so many opportunities. The good news about you guys who are in real estate is that there's always gonna be a house for sale. As long as you can do something different than Redfin and Zillow and all these other tech companies out there, as long as you can be that agent that people are looking for, you're always gonna have a job. There will always be a need for a real estate agent in some degree or another. Maybe not the same capacity as today, and maybe you're not paid a commission like you are today, but there will always be a need for a real estate agent if that transaction keeps going. The fun thing to realize is that, you know, when you went to school and you got this job and you took employment somewhere, depending on where you live in the country and the options that were available for you and the degree that you earned and the route that you went, you could earn anywhere from, you know, $40,000 a year to $400,000 a year. I literally knew guys who got out of school and within probably 5 years, they were making over $400,000 a year because they had this amazing skill that that company needed. I knew plenty of other guys who got out of school and barely made $40,000 a year because that trade was maybe more easily filled and there's plenty of people to do that job. But for you guys to go and start a small business and to cover your overhead and make $50, $100, even $200,000 is not that hard. Like, the guys who sell these cell phone covers, do you know how many iPhones they made last year? Like millions of them. There will always be a need for another iPhone cover. There will always be a need for another app. There will always be a need for technology. Like, there's so many things that you can do in this world to create a $50,000 year after year after year income, or $100,000. And for most of you guys, $100,000 is so much money. There's so much that you can do with $100,000 because, you know, maybe you live in a place where your house payment and all your food and entertainment and everything that you do only costs you $40,000 a year to live. But if you can make $100,000, it would change your life. Think about that. Like, the goal for so many of you guys right now is to make $1 million or $10 million, and you've set this like like entrepreneurial, massive goal of being so much. And you've built this platform of being so high that you're trying to obtain, and you're thinking, I'm failing, I'm only making $100,000 or $110,000 or $150,000, and I'm not there yet. It's so far away, this $1 million goal. Guys, if you're making $100,000 and you live in the middle of the country and the average income in your area is $50,000, you're doing incredible. It's just what you're using your money for and where you're spending it and how you think about the success that you're getting. So don't try to assume that the starting point for entrepreneurship is $1 million. Did you guys know that to be in the 1% earning in this country right now, for you to make $400,000 a year puts you in the top 1% of earners? Think about that. That's only $400,000. And if you're making 40 right now, 400 is a long ways away in your mind. It's not that hard though. There's plenty of people who make $400,000, but that's it. To be in the 1%, the 1% earners in the United States, all you have to do is make $100,000, which means, $400,000, which means if you're making between 100 and 400, you're still probably in the top 10%. Maybe 20, I don't know where that number is. It'd be interesting to look that up. But to say, look, if I'm gonna be a successful entrepreneur, if I'm gonna have success in this life and feel like I won, I have to make $1 million. Like the amount of people that make $1 million is like a half of a 1%. Like it's so much more rare. So just realize like where you are in this financial game that you're trying to chase and how much money you actually need to live. If you kind of reverse engineer and work backwards about how much you need, like how much do you need to live in the best house that you can imagine, you know, plan that out. What do you need? Not what do you want? Like, do you want a $16,000 or 16,000 square foot house, or could you get by with like an 8,000 square foot house? Whatever. Do you need to drive $1 million Ferrari, or could you drive like a 5-year-old Lamborghini that costs $200,000? I'm just saying, you know, like you could probably figure out your net overhead that you need to survive on and work backwards and say, wow, if I made $250,000 a year, you could have an incredible life. To make $1 million would definitely set you out there and definitely create a life that you've probably never even dreamed of before. But you don't have to earn that kind of money to be successful. You can win at $100,000 and $200,000. When you're an entrepreneur, I think the joy and excitement of it can be so interesting, right? Like working for myself and traveling around and not having to go to an office, and I can work from my cell phone and I don't have to have a boss and all that kind of stuff. It's a magical experience that I think a lot of you dream about. And if you're watching this video, I know we're kind of expanding our audience recently, but if you're watching this video and you're an employee somewhere and you're thinking, I would love to be an entrepreneur, I'd love to set my own hours and I'd love to do my own thing, I don't think what most of you guys realize or haven't realized yet is that this is a 15 to 18 hour a day commitment, 7 days a week for like 10 years. And yes, we talked about Post Malone and having massive success kind of overnight. Yes, that is possible. But in reality, you're gonna be doing this 15 hours a day, 7 days a week for a decade or for 15 years before you find the success that you're looking for. So don't just assume that you're gonna wake up tomorrow and create that opportunity as $100,000. And I'm not trying to pop your balloon or say don't do it, because if that's your passion, that's what you're excited about, and that's the drive that you're on, it's worth it. Because maybe you love it. And maybe you're at a job right now that allows you only to work 6 hours a day, and you get off Fridays at 2 o'clock, and you make a decent amount of money, but you don't like working for somebody else, or you don't love what you do, or you wish you could do more, you wish you could work more hours. Maybe there's an opportunity to start a side hustle, right? Like maybe you check out of your job and you take pictures for people on the weekends, or maybe you edit video, or maybe you buy lawnmowers from China and sell them and make 50 bucks. Whatever it is, there's maybe some side stuff that you can do. But the point that I want to get at is that entrepreneurship is not this amazing opportunity that I think so many people make it look like. If you get on Instagram, and I guarantee if I looked up Instagram hashtag right now and I started scrolling, all you would see is Lamborghinis and big houses and infinity edge pools and tropical vacations and stacks of money and fancy watches and all these things. And I want to say that most of these guys are just faking that image to try to paint a picture for you to want to follow, and for you to try to chase their dream, and for you to put them on a pedestal to help them feel better about themselves. In reality, that's probably not it. I've met quite a few of these traveling entrepreneurs, the guys who vlog about living, other countries. They call it the hammock lifestyle, right? I've met a lot of these guys, and most of these guys, because they're just kind of bouncing from Airbnb to Airbnb, and they don't have a big house payment, or they live in a van, or it's just them, right? Like they have a laptop and a phone town and maybe they need to eat some food, like they have super low overhead. So they can get by on $20,000, $30,000 a year. If they make 50, that's incredible for them. And so yeah, maybe you're thinking in your mind, oh, this guy's making $1 million and he or she's rolling in it. But in reality, they just created a lifestyle that they really love and that they get to do what they want. But at the end of the day, maybe they're just getting by on that $50,000, $60,000 salary that they're turning from being this entrepreneur and being a vlogger or being paid to promote content, right? So think about where you are in that journey and just think, if I want to create this, I don't have to earn that $1 million. And if you did, incredible, go for it, make it happen. So the other thing that I want to mention here, but where we are right now, the economy is doing fantastic. I get these little updates from like Time Magazine and Wired Magazine and stuff, and they talked about the economy being great. And yeah, it's been great for like 8 years, right? And we're on the edge of like doing something here. We're about to like make a change. And it's not gonna be that like 2007, 8, 9 crash that we had before. It's probably gonna do like that for just a second. And I'm not trying to predict anything. I'm just saying that we're in a great economy right now. We have amazing opportunities. I think it was Tony Robbins said, if you can't make money now in this market, you don't know how to make money and you're missing out on the opportunity. Like, it's never been easier than it is right now. People are just pouring money back into the system, so take advantage of it. So if you're looking at entrepreneurship saying, I'm gonna quit my day job, I'm gonna give up that 401k, I'm gonna give up my benefits, and I'm gonna go do something that I wanna do, you better understand that we are in a bubble right now. A bubble of like, everybody's spending money, and I can go start a t-shirt company, and I can go make whatever I want, and people are gonna pay me for it. Yeah, that's true, you can right now. But what happens when the market just shifts a little bit, and people lose 10, 20, 30% of their income? Do you think they're gonna be buying those one-off t-shirts that you're charging $50 for? Do you think that they're gonna be eating out as much as they used to? Do you think they're gonna be traveling or buying these random things that they probably don't need? No, they're gonna be tightening down their budget and spending money on the necessities. Their houses, the food that they have to eat, the clothes that they have to have, the money for their kids. Money's gonna be tighter. So you have this rare opportunity right now, and it's not too late to start a business. It's not too late to go be self-employed and do something right now. It's not too late to get into real estate if you want to sell real estate right now. But just understand that the market could shift, and this easiness that we're in could be gone tomorrow. And then what? And then you might have to go back and get a job. You might have to go back to that 8 to 5 if they're still hiring. You might have to go do something that you didn't want to do before. So if you're willing to take that risk and you're willing to go out on this line, great. But just be ready if you don't have the money to support yourself, or you're not in a position to keep going for another 5, 6 years as the economy kind of turns back around and people start spending money again, you might have to go to another job. But what I am telling you is, if you've already been in this route, right? Like, I've been doing this for a decade, 10 years and 4 months now since I officially was laid off from my normal 8 to 5 job, and I officially became self-employed and, as I'll call it, an entrepreneur. I have some background. I know that this is the route I'm going. I'm not gonna make a sharp left turn and go back to that 8 to 5 job. This is the commitment that I've made. And a lot of you are. You've been selling real estate for 10 years, you've been selling t-shirts for 10 years, whatever it is, and you kind of have that momentum. If you're living still paycheck to paycheck, or if you're just barely getting by and you don't have sufficient funds to ride out another hiccup in the road, you better start saving some money and setting it aside and being able to withstand a few hiccups in the road, okay? So I remember when I was, I'll just talk about that for a second. When I was laid off from my job, so it was January of 2009, okay? I had a great job. I got out of school about 5 years before this, like highest income for my class on salary. I was super excited. Living in the Bay Area, couldn't afford a house back then, but it was a great job. And it was something that I enjoyed, but I didn't love. And it was something that I knew that I didn't necessarily want to do forever, but it would have been hard to leave that comfort and go start something new. And I was reading books about flipping houses and real estate at that time and distracted with all these other things. And then the economy came and the hammer came down, and the guy in our office was like, you and you, come in here. And he was like laying people off in like heats of 3. And it was like 3 o'clock that afternoon, and I'm just looking around like, when's it gonna be me? And sure enough, they lost like 500 and something people that month. We lost $1 billion worth of work at our company, and I was one of them. And it sucked at the moment. I remember crying at night and just thinking, what am I ever gonna do? I'm never gonna find another job. Like, not even 30 years old and unemployed, and this sucks, right? And had I not been let go of that job, I probably never would have pursued this career path that I've gone on. I would have never taken that risk. I would have never done something like this that I wanted to do. So it kind of forced me into that position to have to do something, but it was a good opportunity for me because it allowed me to realize like the inconsistency of what a real job can do, and the, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but the way that, having a full-time job is not always going to be there for you. Like tomorrow, you could be gone. So you got to decide, like, which route do I want to go in life? Do I want the comfort, take care of me and get a paycheck every Friday and make sure that life is good, but it could be taken away from me? Or do I want the struggle of barely making ends meet and having the opportunity to make hundreds of thousands of dollars? Think about it this way, like when you found what you love in life and it's so exciting to you, like you will spend every waking moment chasing that dream. Like 18-hour days will feel like 30 minutes. I've literally had those days where it's 12 o'clock at night and I'm like, I'm just getting started. Like I am ready to go. I can't sleep. I can't think about anything else. Like go, 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 go. When we first started our business, the Orange Stack, I remember staying up till 2, 3 in the morning and just like planning things out and just being so excited about this business. And I'm still excited about this and I love every day and it's something that I'm passionate about. And I remember being back 10 years ago at that job at my desk and just thinking, it's 10:45 in the morning. I feel like I've been here all day and it's not even lunchtime yet. Like I'm ready to go home. And just the difference of it, right? And so when you love what you do and you're passionate about it and you've found the opportunity to win in this life, like you will go 1,000% deep. You will outwork anybody to achieve your goals. You will do everything you can to possibly succeed. And so I think that that's my ultimate goal for you guys in this whole video is do what you love. Find that passion, find that excitement. If it is working for somebody else, because it allows you to collect a steady paycheck and it allows you to go home and spend time with your family and travel and take 3 weeks off and sleep in some days and have sick days and just do what somebody else tells you to do, great. If it means that I've got to go forge my own business and create something new that I've never done before or do something that's impossibly scary for me or try to create and invent something that's never been done before and that's what excites you, great. The point I want to make is that if your goal is to make $1 million a year, you're going to be in the less than top 1% of income earners, which means you've got to do what that select group of people is willing to do. Those guys don't sleep until 10. They don't leave work at 2. I mean, maybe now they do after doing it for 40 years, but they didn't when they got started. This is not a 4-hour-a-day work day to make $1 million. It is a grind and hustle and do whatever you can to possibly make $1. It's possibly burning bridges. It's possibly being away from your family at long periods of time. It's alone time. It's doing things that most people are not comfortable doing. So think about where you are in your business. Are you willing to do the things that nobody else is willing to do to find the success that you want? Or are you happy making $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 and living a middle of the road, I'm not gonna say average life, because I don't want you to think that it's just average. Like you could have an incredible life and feel like you won and lived, but you didn't have to kill yourself to get there. You can easily work a 30, 40-hour week and still make incredible money. But the point is find what makes you happy. Find that success and that joy. Okay, as we wrap this up, here are the 4 things I want you to take away from this. These are the 4 things that are gonna bring you the joy in this life that you're looking for. Number 1 is have empathy. I understand that most people, they don't wanna do anything. Most people just wanna sit around and enjoy life and be lazy and show up for 4 or 5 hours a day for work. Like that is the average, I would say. Like I read this stat a few years ago that said the average employee works about 3.2 hours a day at a job, which means that the rest of them are just hanging out on YouTube and Facebook and doing other things and daydreaming their day away. Most people are that way, right? That doesn't mean that you have to be, but you have to have empathy for them. You have to understand where they are in their life. If you expect them to hustle, hustle, hustle and grind, grind, grind and work 20 hours a day and come in on the weekends, you better be giving them equity in your company. Because if not, they're just like everybody else and they're there to show up and get paid an hourly rate. So have empathy for people. Just listen to them, understand what they're looking for, understand what drives them and motivates them, and if you can make them happy, they will make you happy too. Number 2, be grateful. I am super grateful for my health right now. I'm grateful for where I live. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my education and who I've become these last few years. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I've been given in this life. And I think that when you can kind of step back, pause for a moment and think about where you are in your life and not focusing on the problems that other people have, but just realizing that your life is amazing and that it could be worse, right? Think about your health and where you are. Like, do you have all 10 fingers? Can you walk on your feet? Can you get around and can you do your thing? And can you see beautiful days? Be grateful for every moment that you have. Each day is a blessing. So be grateful for where you are. Number 2, be humble. Don't think that you're above everybody else. You know, I mean, yeah, you're a great person and you are amazing at who you are, but be humble. Just be respectful of people and understand that you're who you are and that you've come through the challenges and the difficulties of life and it's gotten where you are today, but realize that everybody has their own challenge. You know, you may look at the closest people in your life and think that you know who they are and you understand what they're going through. It might even be parents, siblings, spouses, but do you really understand what's going on mentally with them? Probably not. Like, your 4 closest people in your life, you probably understand pretty well, but you probably don't fully understand everything that's going on. And if you talked about like friends or coworkers, you have no idea what they're going through in life. So don't judge them, just be humble and realize, you know, I accept you for who you are. I know that you're going through stuff that I'll never understand. I'm not above you. I'm just here to help you. Be humble, guys. And number 3, this is a good one too. Be where the attention is going. So many of you guys are in places that used to work, right? Like 5 years ago, Zillow was incredible. It was the best place to buy leads, like dollars for leads. And now, to get a lead from Zillow, average cost of a lead on Zillow is $170 per lead. Not closing, per lead. And the close ratio on Zillow is 1%. So Zillow is not your best friend anymore. And if you're working at Zillow, or you are Zillow, or you're the owner of Zillow, like, Zillow is awesome and it's amazing what you guys have done. But there's better places to be. And so be where people are going. 5 years ago, most people had no idea that Facebook ads would convert the way that they do, or Google ads would convert the way that they do. So times are changing, technology is changing, people are staring at this thing more than ever. Be where the attention is going, and you got to keep adapting to that and be where you need to be so that you can get the attention that you need. Okay, so be on these social media accounts. Create more video. Be where people read, watch, listen. Just, Wayne Gretzky kind of attitude, right? Be where the puck is going. Don't chase the puck. So you got to anticipate where people are going. What's in? I will tell you the biggest thing right now. People are loving audio. Okay. So getting on the round mobile devices that are in the corner, and I'm not going to say her name right now. She starts with an A. Being on those places, being on podcasts, speaking to people, communicating in the way that they want to digest content is the place to be. Guys, attention is important. It's huge. That's why I create this show every single week. I know so many of you digest this content. You're here to watch the show all the way to the end. If you're still here, thank you for watching. I appreciate the replays and the watches and the live attention that we get. Thank you for joining us every single week. My goal for you guys is to find happiness in this life. That's what I've been preaching these last few weeks. It's to help you find what you're truly excited about. Find the thing that makes you excited. Find the thing that brings you joy, that wakes you up early, that keeps you up late, that just says, this is where I want to spend my time. This is what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. I want you guys to find those things in life. And maybe it's real estate. Maybe you're going to become a chiropractor. Maybe you're going to go ride bikes and pedal through the Alps, or fix cars, or paint pictures, or cell phone covers. I don't know what it is, but find the things in this life that make you joy, and you will win hands down. Life's too short to do something that you don't love. Okay, guys, thanks for being here every week. We will see you on our Monday show. Come check out the Monday show on my Erik Hammond page. It's called the Ask Erik Hammond Show, where we answer your top 4 questions and cover your business needs. Guys, thanks for being here every single week. We'll see you next week. Happy Friday.